Good evening, everyone. My name is Colleen Swain, and I am the director of the City of San Antonio's World Heritage Office. Thank you for joining us for the 5th Annual World Heritage Open House. Tonight is the second meeting of our 3-meeting series. As a reminder, there are 4 ways you can participate tonight. You can drop your comments or question in Facebook. You can also call us at 210-207-2111 or send us a text message to 210-262-0025, or you can email us at worldheritage@sanantonio.gov. At the end of this week, we will post all the presentations to our World Heritage website with a list of questions and responses and a link to any surveys. Again, thank you for joining us this evening, and we appreciate your patience as we all learn to navigate this new normal and continue the community process. At this time, I am happy to introduce Councilwoman Rebecca J. Villagran.
Thank you, Colleen. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our World Heritage Open House. My name is Rebecca Villagran, and I am your District 3 Council member representing the South and the Southeast side of San Antonio. Thanking each and every one of you for joining us tonight. This is our 5th Annual World Heritage Open House. And normally, we would be together in breakout sessions and in different rooms, but for the safety of our community and for the safety of all of our families, we are doing this virtually. So thank you for being a part of this process. Last night, we had presentations on the city's response to COVID-19. And tonight's program focuses on some very exciting and important updates on our bond projects in the World Heritage area. You'll hear updates from the World Heritage Office, from Public Works, and the Development Services, as well as our Arts Department. We'll also hear some great information about our World Heritage facility that I know you are going to be happy to hear. Again, we are hosting this virtually on Facebook Live, and even though we're not together in person, we would still like for you to share your comments and questions. Colleen already went through how you can participate and how you can call in 210-207-2111, text us 210-262-0025, or you can email us worldheritage@sanantonio.gov. Please, you can also leave comments while you're watching on Facebook, and we'll try and get to your questions as well. So thank you again very much for joining this evening, and I'm going to pass this on. First presenter, who I believe is back with our bond projects. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Villagran. Hello and good evening. My name is Amy Ramirez, and I'm a project engineer in the Public Works Department at the City of San Antonio. Tonight, I'll be presenting an update on the 2017-2022 bond projects in the World Heritage area. Investing in infrastructure was a key need identified by the community. On May 6, 2017, the voters passed an $850 million general obligation bond, of which $37 million is specifically in the World Heritage area. This includes $25 million for streets, bridge, and sidewalks, $5 million for signage and wayfinding, $5 million for World Heritage facility, and $2.25 million for parks improvements and land acquisitions. Tonight, I'll be giving you an update on the streets, bridges, and sidewalks, and trail signage and wayfinding. Mission Road, $2 million was allocated for Mission Road. The scope includes streetscape improvements, such as brick pavers, decorative candy cane street lighting, as well as new sidewalks and a hike and bike trail that connects to the San Antonio River. The city held a second public meeting on December 9, 2019, at the Stinson Municipal Airport. The project is currently in 95% design, with construction to begin in October of this year. South Presa, $5 million was allocated for the South Presa Street. The scope includes corridor improvements for pedestrian amenities such as sidewalks and bike lanes, The status includes environmental, right-of-way, and textile coordination, which is currently ongoing. Design is 95% complete, with construction to begin early spring of 2021. South Cross Boulevard was allocated for $5 million. The scope includes pedestrian amenities and enhancements for corridor improvements from Pleasanton Road to Roosevelt Avenue. Currently, the right-of-way acquisition is ongoing. The project is 95% complete, with construction scheduled for spring of 2021. Roosevelt Avenue, allocated for $13 million, is split into two projects, Roosevelt North and Roosevelt South. The corridor spans a little over 5.6 miles from the northern limit of the project, which is located at the Union Pacific Railroad Bridge near South St. Mary's, all the way to the southern limit of just north of 410. Corridor improvements include bicycle facilities, sidewalks, and landscaping. The city held 3 community input meetings in March, August, and December of 2019. The draft visual concept plan, developed by input from the community, was open for feedback from May 4 to June 10th and is currently posted at the World Heritage website. Design is to begin this month, with construction anticipated for July of 2021. The World Heritage Trail signage and wayfinding was approved for $5 million. The scope includes wayfinding signage, architectural features, and other related improvements. The comprehensive design plan for the World Heritage Trail wayfinding was approved by the Historic and Design Review Commission, HDRC, this past Wednesday on June 17, 2020. Plans are 95% complete, with construction to begin November of this year. This concludes my presentation. I will now turn it over to Colleen Swain with the World Heritage Office to talk about street renaming.
Thank you, Amy, for your presentation. After World Heritage designation in late 2015, the San Antonio River Authority began the process of inventorying the variety of existing wayfinding and signage throughout the World Heritage area. The process was coordinated with other public agencies, including the City of San Antonio, Visit San Antonio, our National Park Service, and VIA. As part of the second World Heritage Symposium hosted by the Councilwoman in December of 2015, the San Antonio River Authority gathered input on the existing Mission Trail wayfinding. One of the wayfinding study recommendations was the need for a continuous Mission Road World Heritage Trail to eliminate confusion for residents and visitors to the San Antonio Missions. In 2016, a street name changes survey was conducted as part of the first World Heritage Open House. Overall, the survey results showed that the proposed street name changes were supported by the respondents at the time. Some of the comments received at that time were about the street name changes were concerns of historic significance. The city's Office of Historic Preservation researched the names of the streets such as Napier, Ashley Road, and Via Main Road. The research concluded that none of the street names are from the colonial period or are named after people associated with the heritage of the missions. Ashley Road is named after Frank Ashley, and the Ashleys owned and maintained and lived on farmland adjacent to the road. Tonight, we have asked our Department of Development Services to walk us through the proposed street name changes and the process for changing those names. This is for informational purposes. Because the survey was completed back in 2016, we will post a new survey on our website, which will be open for 30 days. This will provide us with an update on the current feeling of the community. Once the survey results are in, then based upon that feedback that we receive, we will determine whether or not to begin the street renaming process. And now I believe that I'm turning it over to Logan Sparrow from the Development Services Department.
Cool. Thank you very much, Colleen. I appreciate it. As Colleen mentioned, I'm here today to go over what the process for a street name change would look like, as well as a little bit of information related to that 2016 survey that Colleen just mentioned. So we'll go ahead and get started here on our next slide. So just a little bit of background, as was touched on earlier, the voters approved a $5 million for wayfinding signage, other improvements. That $5 million was part of the bond program, and included in that $5 million portion, that included street name changes along the World Heritage Trail. So over our next couple slides, I'm going to show you the sections that were identified as part of that 2016 survey. There is one section on the next slide located in City Council District 5, and that was to change Mission Road and Lone Star Boulevard between Roosevelt Avenue and the dead end of Mission Road to Roosevelt Park Drive. And you can see that segment highlighted there. It identified number 1 in cyan blue near the curve of the river down there. And on the next slide are the street segments located in City Council 3. This, of course, encompasses the majority of the areas identified for a street name change. We have Napier Avenue to Mission Road, between Roosevelt Avenue to Padre Drive. Mission Road to San Jose Drive, between Southeast Military to Napier. Padre Drive to Mission Road, that segment from Napier to Southeast Military. And then as we continue our way south, Mission Parkway to Riverfront Parkway, currently Acequia to Espada Road, East Ashley Road to Espada Road, and lastly, Villa Main Road to Mission Road. So you can see in that map there, the intent is to create a more continuous street name change system rather than several street names broken out over one continuous section of road. As far as the process is concerned, if we can go on to the next slide, I appreciate it. And again, this is for informational purposes only, but essentially, Development Services Department, when we receive an application for a street name change, we are required by city code to notify every agency at the City of San Antonio for a technical review. So it goes to our public safety departments like police and fire, so that they are aware that a street name may be up for change. That way there's no delays to requests for police or fire or ambulance. It goes to the planning department, it goes to animal care services. Every department at the city has an opportunity to review and comment so that everyone's on the same page as we move forward in this process. Once we have notified the city agencies, the Development Services Department would host a series of community meetings. So we want to make sure we're hearing from the community. We want to make sure that the community has every opportunity to voice their support or opposition, to voice their concerns, so that as we move through this process, we're not leaving anything behind, that we're hearing from the folks that live and work in these communities to make sure that any street name change proposal is going to meet their needs at the end of the day. We would take this request to the city's Historic Design and Review Commission to make sure that any proposed street name has the opportunity to be considered from the Office of Historic Preservation and HD historical context. I know Colleen spoke in her presentation. After HDRC, that's when we get into the Planning Commission consideration, which ultimately would make a recommendation to City Council where the final decision is made on whether or not the street name change would occur. A little bit more on process and procedure on the next slide. In the segments that were identified in the 2016 survey, and again, I understand that a new survey would be conducted, that identified 8 address changes. We would mail notice to 96 different property owners along those street segments, as well as 4 neighborhood associations. Those 4 neighborhood associations are the Roosevelt Park Neighborhood Association, Mission San Jose, Hot Wells, and Via Coronado neighborhood associations. And just for benefit of those tuning in, on the right-hand side of this slide is a more complete list of all the city departments that would have an opportunity to review this particular request. As far as fiscal impact is concerned on the next slide, out of that bond allocation, a total of $4,335 would be required to process the street name change. And that's a combination of the application fee, costs through our Public Works Department for sign replacement, as well as notification fees, so we can ensure that folks that live or work along those street sections are noticed appropriately. That is my presentation, at least a little bit on the process for the street name change. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Stacy Gonzalez with the Public Works Department.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Gonzalez. I am a project manager for the Public Works Department at the City of San Antonio. I am managing the World Heritage Center project, which is a 2017-2022 bond project. The project is combined with two propositions. Proposition number 3, Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Improvements, for a funding amount of $2.25 million. Proposition number 4, Library and Cultural Facilities Improvements, with a project funding of $5 million, giving us a combined total project budget of $7.25 million. The location for this project is on city property near Mission San Jose. And I will now introduce the design team for the presentation of the site selection and design concept. First, I will have Jeff Edwards, Principal Architect at Munoz & Company, and Brian Mask, Associate Principal at Dunaway Associates. Jeff?
Thank you, Stacy, very much. Stacy said, my name is Jeff Edwards. I'm a principal at Munoz & Company Architects, and I'm here today to talk to you about the World Heritage Center, a new project that, as Stacy mentioned, is envisioned to go on the old site of the Mission Drive-In Theater, if many of you remember that. This particular site was selected for many reasons. It's near a lot of community and city amenities, such as the Mission County Park. It's right off of, half a mile away from the Mission Reach of the Riverwalk, the new extension down there, the very beautiful extension. And, of course, most importantly, it's immediately adjacent to Mission San Jose, the queen of the missions. And for that reason, it was decided that this would be the perfect location for this project. Way back when the city acquired this property, shortly after they acquired it, around 2009, they enlisted our firm, Munoz & Company, to help them with a master plan for the property. It's a 26-acre parcel, and so the idea was that it could accommodate multiple functions on that building, on that site. The first thing that we did was we went back and dug into the history of the site to learn all that we could about the site, going all the way back to when it was agricultural land that was used to support Mission San Jose itself. And then after World War II, it was purchased and became the Mission Drive-In. And then ultimately, around 2009, we came up with this master plan to let this piece of property house city amenities. One of the first things that was done on the site was to restore the old Mission marquee structure and restore the mural on the back of the structure. After that, the Mission Library was developed, the Mission Branch Library, which we also worked on. The Mission Marquee Plaza came immediately after that to host big community events in the great outdoor space that's framed by the marquee structure itself. And then most recently, the Harvey Najum YMCA was built on one of the parcels back there. This particular project, the World Heritage Center, is envisioned to go on a piece of land that was envisioned in the master plan that lines the Marquee Plaza. It's on one side of the Marquee Plaza and faces out to Roosevelt Street. And I'm going to ask Brian Mask from Dunaway to come up here and tell you a little bit about the site. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I am Brian Mask with Dunaway Associates, and been very fortunate to work with Jeff on this great project. Munoz has already done some great projects out there, and we have partnered up with them to continue to do some great things out there. If you look at the plan, just want to mention on the plan on the right side, you'll see some of the buildings that Jeff mentioned. The marquee is kind of centered. To the left, you'll see Roosevelt Avenue, and up above, you'll see VFW. The white box a little south of the Mission Marquee is the location right now we're proposing for the World Heritage Center. Adjacent to that World Heritage Center, you're going to see a road in front of it that's going to provide parking and access to the World Heritage Center. And then you see the connection to Roosevelt. The location was chosen to not only tie into the master plan, but it also provides a great street presence of the World Heritage Center to Roosevelt and to the community. The other thing this location provides is a great opportunity to connect to the Mission Library, and then eventually you'll see a trail that follows south that will eventually connect to San Jose, so it creates that great connection point. The renderings you'll see to the left, the lower rendering is if you were standing at the intersection of Roosevelt and VFW, and it shows the Mission Marquee in all its splendor, and then off to the right you can see the beginning of the form of the building for the World Heritage Center. This rendering gives you a little bit of context of the scale and the location. The upper rendering is if you walked in closer to that loop road, you can still see the marquee in the corner, and then to the right you can see a little bit more of the building, the location. I'm going to turn this over to Jeff, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the activities might be in the space for the World Heritage Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, so where we are now on this project, we're at what I call the fun part. It's the envisioning part, and this is where we really need your help. If they haven't already told you, there will be a survey going out this Friday with a series of open-ended questions about the World Heritage Center, and we really need your input. We have not designed one thing at this point. All we've started doing is thinking about the kinds of space we want, what we want the facility to be able to do, and we need your help thinking about this because that's going to inform the ultimate design of the project. Just a couple of things to get everybody's juices flowing. This is what we do. We throw ideas out on the table and kind of then cull through the list, and we want you to do the same thing. Some of the ideas that have come to our mind so far as we've started thinking about what we want to be able to do in the World Heritage Center, we definitely want it to be a place to explore, whether that's to come down and learn about the missions themselves or the designation as a World Heritage Site, or to view some local artwork. A great place to explore is something that we thought might be a good idea, but again, we want your feedback. Oops. We thought it might be nice to be able to display art. There could potentially be art exhibits based around the missions, and they could be from local artists or they could be from national or international artists. We thought that might be a fun idea as well. We know we definitely want to tell the story of how the missions were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We think that that might potentially be a permanent exhibit within the building. And again, we'd like to hear what your thoughts are about that. We think it could be a space for informal gatherings, possibly neighborhood association meetings and other kinds of great gatherings are something that we want to be able to accommodate in the facility. Again, space for meetings and a space for learning. It'd be great to have experts in the field come down and teach little classes about different aspects of the mission or life during the period of the missions. We thought that would be possibly a wonderful thing to do there. We think that it can be a space for outdoor events as well, both at the World Heritage Center itself and hopefully, if we design it right, so that it'll spill out into the bigger space at the Mission Marquee Plaza as well. And we think we'd like to have some outdoor display there as well. We think that this could begin the storytelling process as people work their way down the mission trail, and that could be a fun idea. The main thing that I want you to get out of all these slides that I'm showing you is that it's not designed yet, and we really, really want your help in thinking about what to do in the space. what you'll see on the questionnaire that's going to come out at the end of the week is that we're going to have a series of questions, and they're going to be grouped around a few subject matters. We want to, like I was showing you, figure out what kinds of activities we'd like to be able to host in the facility. We want to know how you want the space to feel. What do you want it to, and what you want it to say to the world and to the community as people come down here to learn about the World Heritage designation and begin their exploration of the missions. And we want to know what qualities you want the space to include. How do you want that space to feel? What do you want it to say? And we're really hoping we can enlist your help with these items. So please log on this Friday and take a look at this and help us figure out what we're going to do with this great opportunity that we have for the World Heritage Center. Again, there will be a virtual open house and the online survey, and we're hoping you'll participate. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it over to the Department of Arts and Culture. Thanks again.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimberly Ellis, and I am a Public Art Project Manager with the city's Department of Arts and Culture. I'm so happy to be joining you guys this evening and showing you a little bit about the public art project that we have along the World Heritage Trail. So tonight I wanted to give a short overview of what public art is, what we do as a department, and then show you guys that you probably already know some art along the World Heritage Trail that already exists, and then talk about the project that we have coming up. We have a small department of public art in San Antonio. I have myself as a project manager along with my colleagues Jordan Petrius and Bianca Alvarez. We are led by Veronica Ripple and also Debbie Rockasitter, who is our director. So a lot of people don't know what public art is. So public art is a art in a public place that has gone through a public process. This can be on city property, most likely, and what we do is work with the community to decide where that art will be, what will it look like, and what kind of art an artist is selected to go in that location. We have an arts commission that is led by community members here in San Antonio, and all of the art and artists are approved by them. We also have every project handled by a project manager like myself, and we are funded through public bond funds most of the time. Here is a little bit about the process. We have an extensive public art process to ensure that every public art piece is going through community engagement, as well as going through the Arts Commission and our Public Art Committee. So each project starts with community engagement, much like we're doing tonight and much like you'll see us doing in the future. Once we have a plan and a location, we do some scoping ourselves to make sure the site can hold some public art. We also work with the community to select sites or select the kind of art. Do you want a mural versus a sculpture? And then from there, we choose an artist with an artist selection panel that is made up of citizens, but also city staff. And from there, we do a lot of stakeholder review. We go through our Public Art Committee and our San Antonio Arts Commission to approve the art piece and the designs. We have two designs. We show a concept design, which is a very early design, and then there's a final design that gets approved. From there is the fun part, and we get to go into fabrication and installation, and then at the end we get to celebrate with you guys the new public art piece in your neighborhood. So here's some existing public art along the World Heritage Trail. You guys have probably already seen this every day. We have our Windows to Our Heritage, which is a project that was done in 2018 by Oscar Alvarado and David Blancas. We have these great murals that were taken from photographs, historic photographs of the area, turned in by the community and made into, make this kind of underpass into a nice thing and tell the story of the community. We also have many other murals along the World Heritage Trail. You can see some here. We have quite a few at Stinson Airport, as well as Loop 410 and Viaman down there. We have the Four Seasons, and we have Where I End and You Begin by Jason Eric Gonzalez Martinez. So there's a lot of murals along the World Heritage Trail. We want to make sure that the World Heritage Trail has its own identity. We also have sculptures. This is an example of a sculpture at Mission Branch Library by Chris Sauter. You can see this out. It's right next to Mission Marquee Plaza. So to give you some background on this particular project, what we are doing is part of this project is part of the 2017 bond, and our department went in 2018 and did a great community engagement across the city and said, where do you guys want us to spend your public art money? And along the World Heritage Trail in District 3 was chosen as one of the locations, so that's why we're here tonight. What we want to do is create a landmark public art piece along the World Heritage Trail that really speaks to the community there, that speaks to the culture, that speaks to the missions, and all the great treasures that are down along the World Heritage Trail. And we are working with our World Heritage colleagues to make sure that all the extensive community engagement that they've done in the past, for example, the beautification assessment done in 2017, but also the community engagement they've been doing for Roosevelt and along many projects last year and this year. So we're going to bring all that together and hopefully create a really cool public art piece. Right now we have a tentative location. We are still looking at this and seeing if we want to put a public art piece here, but this is right at Mission and Huff Avenue, kind of west of Roosevelt. So it'll be a nice piece to have a landmark along the trail and assure people that they're still on the trail and there's great things ahead. So to give you kind of our next steps, we will be starting community engagement this summer. So if you've joined today's meeting, I will get with the World Heritage people and make sure that you're invited to any community engagement we do later this summer. We will select an artist this fall after we complete the community engagement. And then once that artist is selected, they will work on the design process. We hope to have a final design by next spring of 2021, and then we will start fabrication and hopefully have a piece installed and invite you guys all out for a party and a dedication in late of next year. So here's my contact info. Again, my name is Kimberly, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or reach out by phone. I'm happy to help you answer any questions you may have about this project or other public art projects. Or anything to do with arts and culture, I'll get an answer to you. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Colleen Swain for the closing.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this 5th Annual World Heritage Open House. I want to say a huge thank you to all our presenters this evening and to Councilwoman Villagran. We have some questions now that we'd like to respond to. And a reminder, if you did not get your question in, you can still submit a question. You can either submit it via Facebook or you can call us at 210-207-2111 or text us a message to 210-262-0025 or email us at worldheritage@sanantonio.gov. So I'm going to go through the questions, and some of them are comments as well, but we're going to try to answer those. So we have one about the street name change. It says, will the residents who live on Napier be notified about the possible name change? Because my husband and I do not wish to have the street name changed. Yes, please fill out that survey that'll be posted on Friday. Please make sure that you fill that out and that you share that with all your neighbors so that we have that information. But there is a process where we will have to notify you. If the survey shows that we would proceed, the community is supportive of proceeding with a street name change. I have a good comment. Someone is so happy that the Section 2 of Roosevelt Avenue, that the bond is fully funded. The section from Lighthouse for the Blind to VFW. This section, our neighborhood has waited many years to get the development of infrastructure like sidewalks, drainage, and crosswalks. This will bring safety, investment, and aesthetics to a very important gateway to the Queen of the Missions and its residents and businesses who have invested in our community. I couldn't agree with you more, so thank you for that comment. I have one more that says, when is the open house? Referring to the public discussions about the World Heritage Facility. So what we will do is on Friday, we will have a survey that Jeff talked about regarding the World Heritage Facility. So please share this post with your friends and neighbors, and then on Friday, go to that survey and complete that survey. We're just in the very preliminary stages, and as Jeff said, we need your help with regard to this World Heritage Facility survey. I'll give us a little moment to see if we have any more questions, but don't worry, this is on Facebook Live, and so you'll be able to share it with your friends and neighbors. Again, we will also post these presentations on our website by the end of this week, and we will post any questions that we received and responses to those questions. We will keep those up for 30 days, so you have the month of July to provide feedback to us. We have the methods that you can submit questions. You can call us, text us, or email us. And again, I want to thank you. We're ending a little bit early. Let's see. I think we have no more questions, so that's great. If you think of one, just contact us later. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate your patience with us, and we hope to see you again tomorrow at 6 p.m. for more information from our city departments. Everyone, have a great evening. Again, share this with your friends and neighbors so that we can get as much feedback as possible from folks. And good night, and we hope to see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you.